full transparency, and this is the second time I've tried to film this video. The very first time, so this is distance driver, overstable, wind fighter, but not quite PD2 overstable. Something in between DD3 and PD2. Is there anything? I have a couple of different options. So it's going to be a twofer of 2 discs that I don't actually bag currently, but I'm looking at possibly sticking the stability in the bag. The last time I tried to film this, it started out windy, and then by the end of the video, it was completely calm. So we're in the middle of like a really weird temperature shift today. So winds are 15, gusting to 30, and it's 20 degrees with snow on the ground. But we're doing this anyways. So we have the Skystone, which is not quite as dumpy overstable as the Gravity Bomb, but it's still pretty beefy. So I can get some good distance with it, but it's always gonna dump and fade. I want something that I can push a little bit straighter and a little bit further before it fades, and maybe not necessarily as aggressively. So this is a 168 Plasma Mayhem, and this disc, let me tell you, is the most overstable Mayhem I've ever thrown. Pairing that against the 168 Halo Star Boss, I really did like the 161 Boss, but it was so lightweight that it actually threw off my timing. So we're going back to a little bit heavier. We're gonna go ahead and throw the Skystone off first, just as I want to see what the actual stability does, and then let's see what the other two do. We're gonna throw flat to maybe a touch of Anheuser, because I needed to fight the wind and I needed to go far, and for this disc I need some Anheuser. Okay, well, I grip locked that directly into the ground, but it did flex out before it got to the ground, so it hit and skipped and went really far. What are we gonna throw next? Let's go ahead and throw the Boss. Why not? This, I'm interested to see if the slightly lighter weight and the -1 will do anything, but it's also a 13 speed, so a slightly wider rim, so I have to throw it faster to get it to do the same thing as a 12 speed would do, theoretically. Let's see if this works. That held straight for a very, very, very long time and then faded out. Let's see what this Mayhem does. I'm interested because this might be stable. As stable as that. It's more stable than the other Plasma Mayhems, but I don't know if it's Boss stability. Okay. Looked like it was probably going to do the same thing, hit a weird wind gust and jumped directly into a branch. We're not going to count that against the Mayhem, but unfortunately for the battle purposes, Boss does get the point. Got the crosswind right now, so I'm going to go ahead and throw these on an Anheuser out the wall of trees. On the left, Anheuser, try to bring it this way, crosswind's going to push it back. Let's see what happens. Boss with first point. Boss was also in the little flat stretch along by the road, so it does have some pretty good distance still. Still very cold. I'm gonna try to warm my hand up just slightly more. Do have a hand warmer in my pocket, so that's why I keep reaching in here. Let's go ahead and rip the Boss. I like that. That skipped along the street and made it all the way down to the long pin position. from the long pad. That disc goes really far. Let's see what this Mayhem will do for us. Okay. As far as the line I wanted to throw, the Mayhem was closer to the line I actually wanted to throw. Also, Mayhem almost aced the basket placement that's currently in, so yeah. I'm gonna say the Mayhem and the Boss are tied up now. This might be an interesting battle. We're on the long pad for hole number 10. It is a left to right head crosswind. So, what does that mean? We're gonna throw the backhand on the Anheuser angle again, up here, basically exposing the underside of the disc to the wind. What happens when we put these discs on that angle? How fast can they come out of it? Are they gonna turn and burn? Or are they gonna be the wind fighter and pretty straight neutral wind fighter, but still pretty stable when it's not windy? Mayhem has the box. I mean, that was flattening out to start to fade. So, I don't know how fast it would have fought out because it did hit a tree. But I don't think it would have been one of those where it burns over all the way to 9's fairway. I think it would have ended up in the street or faded back to safe. Let's see what the Boss does. Because while Star is a great plastic and Halo Star tends to be pretty torque resistant and stable, I don't know if it has quite the same wind fighter torque resistance as Gyro, but let's test it. That's why we're testing. I want to know if it can stand into the headwind. It looked like I was going to get about the same flight as the last hole, which means, yeah, I probably would have. But Mayhem went down the tunnel further before it hit a tree. So Mayhem 2-1 right now. The wind is, it's kind of switching between head and tail, but it is coming from the right. So again, put these on Anheuser. I need them, this slot, I need it to be able to hold over and push and give me a lot of good distance without turning and burning. DD3s with too much wind flip up and turn over. Hopefully these won't do that. Mayhem still has the box, and hopefully should be able to see 2 full flights here. I've never gotten that way through the Mandos poles. That was kind of dirty. Now for the Boss. Let's see if we get the same amount. I really do like the Mayhem for the amount of flip and play and the drift you get. I'm a little concerned if I throw that directly into a headwind that it will flip over. But it's also not really the same stability as the rest of my Mayhems, so I don't know why I'm concerned about it. Okay, so the Mayhem and the Boss I think are about the same distance for me, but I think the Mayhem's a little bit more line drive directly at it, and the Boss has more play, or it has more fade, so I have to take that more into account. So do I want the more straight disc, or do I want the more overstable, more fadey disc? Because I think they have about the same amount of torque resistance. Let's go try one more throw. I walked around for a long time trying to find the most direct into the headwind, and the only hole is the long pad for 12. It's the only holes that really face that way that aren't over there on the still closed off portion of the course. I really wish I could play 7 because 7 is pointed the correct direction and would give me the shot I wanted. But instead, we are going to throw from here, from the long pad of 12, up towards 17's long basket. Plasma Mayhem has won out for this battle. We are still going to keep the boss around because as I start to play with this in the wind, it will start to get beaten in. So it'll be nice to know I have a replacement that flies fairly similar, if not a little bit more overstable, which might be nice to have occasionally. But I think I'm going to love this Plasma Mayhem, and y'all are going to love this Plasma Mayhem because this room is really, really easy to see on camera. Okay, that was thrown on Anheuser, and that's controllable. It didn't turn over and burn. Now I know that it will turn over into a headwind, so I'll probably just throw it flat or with a little bit of hyzer, and it'll probably be perfect. But don't throw it on Anheuser into the headwind because it might do that. Let's see if the boss does the same thing, because at this point it might just be a weight thing. Lighter weight than the PD2 that I was using. So we got a more aggressive and weird, just like jumpy, poppy turn out of the boss. So it probably is going to slow it down, and which is going to mean it's going to fade out more. It's also going to fade out more because it's boss, and a boss fades more than a Mayhem. But I think since I already have the PD2, the Mayhem might be the right call here, because it's not going to turn and burn on me, but it's something controllable that'll still get me a lot of really good distance into a headwind. I think that's what we'll go with. So, if I have to go play, Maple Hill or a New London, and it's really, really, really windy, or even down in South Carolina, down in Central, some of those headwind downhill shots might need a more stable disc. Hopefully you enjoy content like this. If so, please make sure to like the video. If you want to see new stuff, please make sure to comment all of that down below. Please make sure to subscribe. It helps you guys out with your subscriber-only giveaways. Definitely helps me out as well. And until next time,